Building trust with your clients, potential clients, is so important as a mortgage broker, so important as a self-employed mortgage broker. So one of the ways that you can build trust is by obtaining feedback from your clients in the way of reviews. So this week's podcast is looking at reviews. We're going to look at why it's important to collect reviews. We're going to look at how to collect them, when to collect them, and what do you do with them once you have collected them? So let's just get into the podcast. You're listening to the Mortgage Broker Broadcast with me, Craig Skelton, the podcast which helps mortgage brokers at all stages of their mortgage broking career. Hi, and welcome back to the Mortgage Broker Broadcast. This week's podcast is all about collecting reviews, and building trust is vital to any business, whether you're a self-employed mortgage broker, employed mortgage broker, or any business. Building trust should be fundamental to the business and fundamental to your process. And one way to build trust is by getting feedback from your clients and then using that feedback as part of your digital marketing campaign. So the first thing I would do, the first question I would ask any self-employed mortgage broker is, does your process or is collecting reviews part of your process? And we're going to talk about when you should be collecting reviews shortly. However, the first question is, do you actually collect reviews? Are you actually actively going out there and seeking out feedback from your clients who have had that exceptional service from you? Are you going out there and getting some feedback from them? Because if you are, then great. And if you're not, why not? Why, if you are delivering that exceptional service, if that client is receiving that 5-star service from you in a stressful situation of buying their home, moving home, remortgaging the home, and you're providing that service, why would you not be reaching out to them and getting feedback to then build your brand even more and to build trust even more? Is that down to fear of rejection, which we've covered before on podcasts and various other things that we've done? Is that the reason why you don't reach out and get feedback? Is it a fear of the feedback? Do you actually have fear of negative feedback coming back? So you've not only the fear of rejection, but then looking at the fear of the feedback as well. But if you know that you've delivered that exceptional service to your clients, then you need to use this to your advantage, because seeking out getting feedback, getting reviews, builds trust. It builds your brand. And if you are consistently asking for reviews, it will help you build a successful mortgage broker business. So what I want to do is look at 3 points really, in terms of, we're going to look at how you're going to collect reviews, when do you collect reviews, and what do you do with those reviews once you've collected them. So first thing we'll want to look at is, how do you collect reviews? And so there are loads of different ways you can collect reviews in the different platforms. The two I want to talk about, one is Google and one is Trustpilot. Now, they are the two most recognized platforms for collecting reviews. There are plenty of other ways, as I've said, for collecting reviews, but they're the two I want to sort of talk about. So when you look at Google, first of all, the beauty of Google is it's free. It doesn't cost you any money to obtain a review from a client. However, because it is free, it is fairly limited in terms of what you can do once you've collected that review, or various other things you want to do as part of your process. So Google is free, but it's limited. Trustpilot does have a free plan within its different subscriptions and different plans that they have. But the more you want to do with Trustpilot, then it does cost you more. So, and you will have to pay. So what I would say is, when you're looking at collecting reviews, and we've already established you've got to be collecting reviews, that's not even up for discussion. What you've got to look at is, look at how you're going to collect reviews and look at what works right for you. So is it Google, which is basically asking a client to put a review of your business on Google? Easy way of doing it, The downside to that is that you're going to have to make sure that part of your process is to follow up, because if they don't do it, there is no automated reminders compared to something like Trustpilot, which is an easier way of inviting customers to do it. There is a process for that, but also as well built into that is a reminder as part of it as well. So within the platform, you can build in a reminder for them to do it, which you've not got with Google. So, but like I say, you have got to pay for that. So what I would say is do your research and find the platform that works for you and works best for you from a time point of view and also a cost point of view as well. And one thing to think about is once you've decided which platform you're going to use, then I would stick to it. It's okay to use two. So as a business, if you want to use Google and you also want to use Trustpilot, it's okay to use both, because then you get the best of both worlds out of that system. And also as well, the client's got to be prepared to give you the and do the review. Now it's easy to copy and paste for the client, that is easy enough, but they've got to be prepared to go onto Google, give you the review, and also go onto Trustpilot and give you that review as well. So what I would say is that you can use two, that's absolutely fine. You ask clients to review on the two different platforms, that is absolutely fine. But I would sort of say decide what platform you're going to use, decide how you're going to collect the reviews, and then you know how you can signpost that throughout the client's journey. So, and what I mean by that is that even in the fact find, you can talk about your reviews, you can talk about how you collect reviews, and you can build that within your proposition brochure, that you can do that within your introduction to you as a mortgage broker with that client in your first appointment. But you got to be consistent with what you're talking about. So if Google's important to you, the review you use that platform, then fine. If it's Trustpilot, you just signposting it with the client that they will receive at some stage an invite from you to review the service they received. Which actually, if you think about it from the client's point of view, if I was sat with a mortgage broker for the first time and you were talking about how you're really proactively collecting feedback from the client, your clients, and you're proactively using that as part of your digital marketing, and you actually pinning your sort of you sort of pinning your everything you do around your reviews. I would buy into that as a client, because if you firmly believed in your reviews and you can sort of showcase your five-star deliver of service time and time again, and you're consistently delivering that service, then you get more buying from that client at that early stage. So, but what I'm saying is the first point is how you're going to collect them, and make sure you do your research and make sure you just find the one that works for you and stick to that. So that's how to collect the views. It's then the second part is then when do you send out the invites to obtain a review? So again, this got to work for you and it's got to be right for you. And I know brokers that do it at different parts of their process. The one thing I would say is get it part of your process. That is not an option. Collecting reviews has to be part of your process. When you choose to collect reviews is up to you. It's just as long as you make sure that you are collecting reviews. So you can look at when the mortgage is offered. So in effect, once the mortgage is offered, your job technically is over as a mortgage broker. So you could be collecting a review at that stage, which mortgage offer, nice conversation, great news. Let's get the review out there and done and out of the way while everything is going great and everything in the process is running smoothly, because you're in control of that part of the process. So you could get your review and ask you for your review at that stage, then it's done. You could actually then look at completion or moving in. It's down to you when you want to collect the reviews. It's absolutely fine. Can you automate the reviews as well? And can you automate the reminders and things like that? So, as part of your process, automating it, you can form part of that if you wanted to do that, depending on which provider you're using. But also, as well, in terms of process, what is your reminder? If you sent out or if you asked a client to do a Google review at the mortgage offer stage, what's the trigger to send a reminder? What's the trigger to remind the client to then making sure that you're getting your review? Like I say, Trustpilot, you can automate that. So that does make things a little bit easier, but you have to pay for that. So you've got to think what's important to you. But you need to make sure that you are sending reminders out as well. The other thing to look at is two people, two clients, two reviews. So if you've got a joint fact find, you should be getting two reviews out of that. Don't just be using the applicant one, for the want of a better word. We need to be getting a review out to applicant one and applicant two, because then you could even use that again where applicant one, you could go down the Google way if you want to use two platforms, and applicant two use Trustpilot. Just finding your own way of what you want to do, but then stick to that, because if you stick to it, as I've covered before, if you've got it within your process, it'll become part of your habit and you won't miss a client for a review. So make sure that's important as well. Like I say, use your reminders, use your trackers, think about what have you got to make sure that it reminds you to send the review reminder out if they've not done a review, because clients won't always remember to do reviews. Even the best clients, you've got the best relationship with them, will still forget to do the review. And then the one thing as well is, if you're doing it as part of your process and it's cemented part of your process, you can set that with the client as well. So when you're talking about it at the fact find or in the first appointment, you can explain to the client that when, for example, once the mortgage is offered, they will receive a Google review invite from you to review the service they received. That's quite clear. That process is nailed. That's habit forming. You will know and the client will expect to receive that, and they know that in the mind because you've already talked about that in their first appointment. They'll remember, oh yeah, the broker said this is when we're going to review their service at this stage. So make sure you've got that nailed as part of your process. So we've covered how to do it, when to do it, and so then the last thing is, what do you do when you receive a review? And the thing with reviews is that share them to the world. That if you've got that positive feedback, if you've got those 5-star review, then you need to shout about it. This is your one opportunity to talk, to share with the world how good you are as a mortgage broker, because it's not you shouting, it's your clients that are giving that positive feedback, that 5-star feedback to the service you provide. And you should be shouting about that, because that is great feedback and that's a great way to build trust with potential clients that are out there looking for a mortgage broker. So as I said, you need to be sharing. Well, get it out there on all your social media platforms, and I mean just get out there as many platforms as you can. You can use a template. I know some brokers use a template for the social media. If you've got Trustpilot, then you can actually create a Trustpilot template that will just automatically share. And within that, you can put your social media platforms within Trustpilot. So that's another easier way of doing it with less friction, is through Trustpilot. But whatever you want to do it, make sure you're sharing it on all your social media platforms and make sure you are getting it out there. The other thing is, what about website? If you've got your own website, or if you've got a landing page, are all your reviews going on there? Because if they're not, then they should be. Have you got a Google My Business page as well? Then all your reviews should be on there as well. So obviously Google reviews will be part of that. So making sure that the reviews go on there as part of the overall Google My Business as well. And like I say, you can create a template for it. Canva's a great way to do that. I know that several brokers that I know that do use Canva as a review template, sorry. So every single time that a review comes in, that consistency is out there to the social media to make sure that the message is getting out to every single person possibly can. And what I mean by platform is, think about your LinkedIn, think about your Insta, think about Facebook, think about Twitter, all the social medias out there that you can get out on. Make sure that you're getting it out on there. So, because again, you're using them to build trust with your client, and we need to see consistency across all your platforms. That's what I would say. So, just to recap, it's important to get feedback from your client. It's important to build trust with your client. And the one way that I would do that is by obtaining reviews. If you're not obtaining reviews, then I would start to obtain reviews from your clients. You need to find out how you're going to do that. You need to understand when you're going to do that as part of your process. And more importantly, as anything, make sure that you share that with the world once you do receive those reviews from your clients, because it will help build a trusted brand, it will help build new clients, and it will help build a successful mortgage broker business. So the takeaway from this for me is start to get feedback from your clients and then share that feedback on your social media, on your digital marketing platforms to help build trust. Thank you for listening to the Mortgage Broker Broadcast, the podcast which helps mortgage brokers at all stages of their mortgage broking career. If you have any questions about this podcast or any topics you want us to discuss, or if you're interested in working with me further, then please get in touch.